Thank you for coming out. My name is Joe, like Dr. Monty said, and appreciate you guys here. So we're going to run tonight kind of like a baseball game. So we're in the first inning right now, and I'm going to go over the ground rules. So we have 3 different categories tonight. The first being reading, so Casey at the bat, which we have 2 readers for. And then we'll go into the second category, which will be musicians singing baseball poems. And then we'll have a 5th inning stretch and move into the 6th inning, where we'll have the second part of the second category, still reading baseball poems, but these will be read at the same. And then we will all sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game in the 6th inning stretch. And then we'll move into the 7th inning with the category 3 poems, which are original poems written by some authors. And then we'll move into the 8th inning, where the umpires or judges will debate about who had the best poem from tonight. And then 9th inning, we'll read the final scorecard. So I'm going to pass it on to Patrick to introduce the umpires.
We have Mary and Bob. Those are my parents. One of us is in the Humboldt High School Baseball Hall of Fame. One of us coached high school competitive robotics. Together we have 2 children, 1 son-in-law, 1 daughter-in-law, 2 grandchildren, 39 years of marriage, and over 60 combined years teaching students in the Twin Cities area. Patrick is me, and I'm no longer a judge, correct? Yep. We have Megan, my wife, who's a spin cycling enthusiast and instructor who loves watching her husband's baseball games. She's from Green Bay, but has fully embraced the St. Small community. We have Then we have Jimmy Shoemaker. He is a St. Paul Central alum, the former manager and captain of the St. Paul Bombers baseball team, and the current second baseman / shortstop. He specializes in Simpson trivia, biking, and city planning.
We will be reading for and this was written in 1888, a long time ago, but it seems like it's still fresh for all of us. It was printed in the San Francisco Examiner on June 3rd of 1888, and it became a very popular baseball poem from that time on. This is Valley. She didn't get introduced.
Yep, hi, I'm Valley.
And I'm Mary.
Hi, Valley.
The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The score stood 4-2 with but 1 inning more to play. And then when Cooney died at first and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game.
A straggling few got up to go in great despair. The rest clung to that hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only Casey could but get a whack at that, we'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat.
But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake. And the former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake. So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat.
But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had settled, and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second, and Flynn a hug at third.
Then, from 5,000 throats and more, there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell. It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat.
There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. Then 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on the shirt. Then, while the writhing pitcher ground that ball into his hip, defiance glared in Casey's eyes, a sneer curled Casey's lip.
And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it, in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. "That ain't my style," said Casey.
"Strike one!"
The umpire said. From the benches, black with people, there went up a muffled roar. Roar! Like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore.
Kill him! Kill the umpire!
Shouted someone on the stand, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand.
With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the sphere flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two!" Fraud, cried the maddened thousands, and echo answered,
Fraud, 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 fraud.
but one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lips. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow.
Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
Thank you.
Can you hear me all right? The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The score stood 4-2 with but one inning more to play. And then when Cooney died at first and Berra's did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only Casey could get a whack at that, we'd put even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, and did also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake. So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat. But Flint let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second and Flynn hugging third. Then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley and rattled in the dell. It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing into the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when, responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat, no stranger in the crowd could doubt it was Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. And then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eyes, a sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. That ain't my style, said Casey. Strike one, the umpire said. And from the benches, black with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. Kill him, shouted someone in the stand, and it's likely that they'd killed him had Casey not raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the sphere had flew, but Casey still ignored it. The umpire said, strike two. Fraud, cried the man in thousands, and echoed answers, fraud. But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain. They knew that Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again. The sneers gone from Casey's lip, his teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his back upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go, and now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. And somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Michael Powers. Hi Mike. Cub fan. So many of you are old enough to remember a fellow named Yogi Berra. His real name was Lorenzo, but they called him Yogi because when he sat waiting to bat, he sat with his arms and legs folded. He looked like a yogi. So this is a song written by John McCutcheon, and Yogi died about 4 years ago, in 2015. He was 90 years old, and he was going to sue Disney when they created Yogi Berra, but they talked him out of it and he withdrew the lawsuit. So this is a song written by John McCutcheon called Talkin' Yogi Talk, because Yogi was famous for his malapropisms. And so really this song was written by Yogi, because all these quotes are direct from Yogi. I want to tell you a story about a hero of mine. I was about 6 or 7 at the time, learning to catch from behind the plate when up stepped the Yankees, number 8. One of the best to ever play the game, enshrined in baseball's Hall of Fame. Yogi Berra could hit and he could throw, but when he opened his mouth, well, you just didn't know. He said things like, he hits from both sides of the plate. He's amphibious. He had deep depth, though he'd sometimes fake it. When he came to a fork in the road, he'd take it. Yogi's words could walk the walk, like when he'd shout, shut up and talk. Okay, everybody, pair up in threes. The future ain't what it used to be. I ain't buying encyclopedias for my kids. Let him walk to school like I did. A nickel ain't worth a dime anymore. I take a 2-hour nap from 1 to 4. And if I didn't wake up, I'd be sleeping then. You know, if you don't set goals, you can't regret not reaching them. We made too many wrong mistakes. Even Napoleon had his Watergate. You know, it gets late early out here, I'm telling you. Half the lies they tell about me aren't true. You better cut that pizza into 4 pieces. I'm not hungry enough to eat 8. Some of his stuff was transcendental. Like 90% of the game is half mental. Sometimes he said things that sounded profound. In theory, there's no difference between theory and practice. But in practice, there is. It ain't the heat, it's the humility. If the world were perfect, it wouldn't be. He claims I never said most of the things I said. Life's gonna be drearier now he's dead. Sometimes when it's late at night, I ponder about that heavenly sight. Yogi and Casey talking in God's den. It's deja vu all over again. You know, you can observe a lot just by watching. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. It ain't over until it's over.
Did not make it into the World Series, which starts tomorrow. The Nats did, yes they did. But the important thing is, in all of this, whether it's first place or second place, or maybe you get the most home runs ever by baseball team, or maybe you get the second most runs scored by a baseball team, or maybe you just got to have heart. So, okay, pick your song sheet up here. All right, Liz, if you would. Start the song. You gotta have heart. Everybody, Miles, all you really need is heart. When the odds are saying you'll never win, that's where the grin should start. Oh, you gotta have heart. You gotta have hope. So nothing's sitting there on the road. Nothing's half as bad as it may appear. Wait till next year and hope. When your luck is back to 0, get your chin up off the floor. Mister, you can be a hero. You can open any door. Nothing to it but to do it. A little louder over here. You gotta have heart. Miles and miles and miles apart. Louder now. Oh, it's fine to be a genius, of course, but keep that old horse before the cart. First we gotta have heart. First we gotta have heart. First we gotta have heart.
Have this all wrapped up. How's everybody doing? We'll hold judgment on that. Is that coming out? Is that going to feed back? So my name is Jim. I feel like I'm at a session. So I've been a friend of Michael Raimondi's for years. He once called me culturally illiterate. So when he asked me to come to poem reading, I felt like a little uncomfortable. He said, "You're going to sing a baseball song?" And I said, "I don't know any baseball songs." Well, there's so many things with Michael. He puts you, right out there on the edge of your comfort zone. And somewhere out there you find something interesting to add to your life. And this song is one of those. So I grew up in a small town, and I was that kid who lived in the house right next to the sand lot. So I'd go out my front door, 50 feet to my left was home plate. My dad built a white fence that went between our yard and the sand lot. Didn't keep any balls out, but looked nice. Except for down on the end by home plate where it collapsed because all the kids would sit on it, waiting to be up to bat. And that playground, that was back in the days when they'd send everybody outside, go outside and play, right? From dusk till dawn. So that's where I first met the kids in my neighborhood. I made friends. I lost friends. We made rules and we lived by the rules. Right? We picked and we got picked. And we beat up and we got beat up. But then one day it was all gone. My dad had passed away. My mom fell in hard times and they shipped all of us kids away to the distant ends of the United States. I got sent to Chicago. So it leaves you with a little bit of a hollow feeling sometimes, kind of a gnawing feeling in your stomach. And, the gnawing goes away, but the hollow never does. So when I heard this song, it really hit home for me. This is a song by Ry Cooder, who back in the 1950s, there was a neighborhood in North LA called the Chavez Ravine. It was a Mexican-American neighborhood full of shops and homes, families, kids. And they had a sandlot. And one day the city of LA decided to demolish the neighborhood and build up a housing project that never emerged. But what did emerge is Dodger Stadium. So a guy named Ry Cooder wrote this song about how that felt for those people, and it really hit home for me, so I'm going to do that one. Hey mister, you're a baseball man, as plain as anyone can see, straightest game in this whole land. Take a little tip from me, I work your nights parking cars underneath the moon and stars. Same old place that we used to know back in 1952. If you want to know where a local boy like me is coming from, third base, Dodger Stadium. Second base, right over there, I see my grandma in her rocking chair, watching the linens flap in the breeze, and all the fellas choosing up their teams, hand over hand on that Louisville, hand over the top, king of the hill. Mound a home 60 feet. Baseball's been very good to me. And if you want to know where a lonely boy like me is coming from. Third base, Dodger Stadium. Third base, Dodger Stadium. Back around the 76 ball, Johnny Green Eyes had a shoe shine stall. Halfway down the first baseline, I got my first kiss. Valencia was kind. And if you hadn't altered my yard, you'd see the tree where our initials were carved. Just a moment in my memory. It sure was fun, 'cause it was free, it was free. Ball. Johnny Green Eyes had a shoe shine stall. Halfway down that first baseline, I got my first kiss, it was fine. And if you hadn't altered my yard, you'd see the tree where our initials were carved. So it's a moment in my memory. Sure was fun, 'cause the game was free, it was free. Hey, mister, you look anxious to go. You'll find your seat in the 7th row, behind home plate where we used to meet. When we were young, we had our dreams. Just a place that you don't know, up a road where you can't go. Just a thought laid to rest in my mind, just the time. So if you want to know where I'm gonna go when I hit my last home run, third base, Dodger Stadium. Hey, mister, you're a baseball man. Yes, I'm a baseball man myself. Yes, I'm a baseball man myself. Yes, I'm a baseball man myself. Thank you.
I got here. Hi.
Hi, Liz.
Hi. I teach at University of St. Thomas, and Michael strong-armed me into this too. I teach courses on sports literature, and I teach specifically women's sports literature. And I'm reading from a book, a collection called A Whole Other Ball Game, which is women on women's sports. So, this poem is called Poem for My Youth, Poem for Young Women by Eloise Klein-Healy. My eyes sometimes bounce up quickly. I look away, seeing you see me and seeing me and seeing me, and not knowing what to cover, I cover everything. Even imagining someday, when I'm older, My eyes will anticipate and pick up quick the ball scooting across a hard infield, and knowing what to focus, I'll focus everything. My body will move to it with the logic of strength and good equipment, and I will plant my feet knowing the slight slide before the grab and hold, and there will be no mistake about it. The throw, and I'll follow through, and everything my legs know about direction and the right tight fit of muscle and skin, to the speed of reacting and reacting right. My quickness is about youth, but already I see it is not young.
Credit is due. I'm reading an original poem by Jay Rothstein and Stu Sweever. And true to kind of baseball tradition, Jay isn't here tonight, so I'm a designated reader. So on a biographical note, Stu and Jay have been friends since high school, where they played baseball for the Abraham Lincoln Rail Splitters in Brooklyn, New York. So once hailed as America's game, today not revered quite the same. Baseball now number 3 at parks and TV. We'll discuss some factors to blame. The length of each game, most will say, is source of the greatest dismay. The time between pitches and replays for glitches, 3 hours plus games, here to stay. I miss when pitchers earn their due. Koufax, Gibson, Miracle too. With the game on the line, pitchers stayed out for 9, thus more innings they did accrue. Babe, Hank, and Harmon left us in awe. Then came the steroid era, push on. But with the juiced up baseball, checks swing fly over the wall, and fans cheer the elevated score. Simple data was not tracked for each at-bat. Nowadays, the triple crown is her stats. It once seemed eccentric to use sabermetrics. Now we're inundated with advanced stats. Has baseball outlived its zeal? Exchanged for activities with more sex appeal? I hope you can see it continues to be a joy in the seats close to the field. Do not lament any change. The atmosphere is mostly the same. Repartee will be had with sons, daughters, and dads. It just takes on a different refrain.
Well, I was looking around for the right poem, and I ended up taking one that's a classic. And this was originally written by Franklin P. Adams and appeared in the New York Evening Mail in 1910. The interesting thing about this poem is it has 3 titles. The original title, when it was published, was called That Double Play Again. The official name of the poem is Baseball's Sad Lexicon, but everyone knows it by something totally different. And I would like to dedicate this to any Chicago Cubs fans who are here tonight.
Yes.
You gotta have heart. Oh, wait a minute. The reason I chose this poem is because I learned one word. I added one word to my vocabulary. See if you can guess which word it is. It'll be pretty obvious for you. All right. These are the saddest of possible words. Tinker to Evers to Chance. Trio of bear cubs and fleeter than birds. Tinker to Evers to Chance. Ruthlessly pricking our Gonfalon bubble, making a giant get into a double. Words that are weighty with nothing but trouble. Tinker to Evers to Chance. Is there anyone here who is not professor of English. First of all, what's the word? Gonfalon. Does anyone know who is not an English professor know what gonfalon means? It is a pennant or celebratory herald. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ann.
Hi, Ann.
And I'm here at the behest / badgering, the usual suspect. And I'm going to do everything in my power to embarrass my daughter Ellie, because that's in my job description. So I'm reading a poem that was written by a local poet, James Spence. Okay. Let me try that name again. Lenfest 3. Lenfest? Thank you. Yeah. Here. And it's a recently penned poem.
It's an occasional poem, just for this.
Just for this. It's called Mighty Snow Stroked a Squib. Oh, the night was free of rain, stands filled with signs of love. Twins set the Homer season record in heaven stands above. Oh, the night was clear and bright, Twin Stadium lights showing grand. Third game crucial to the series, wife, son, and daughter were on hand. Throughout the Yankee series, Twins bats were a muffled cry, hardly a homer to be hanky, hardly a hit to score a guy. Then in the second or third inning, I don't remember which, the Twins finally loaded the bases. No outs, Sano waited for the pitch. Fans stood and roared their lungs out, mustard drooling down their bibs, as Mighty Sano dinked as a bases loaded, no out, infield squib. There comes a time in the affairs of men when you need to score a run, when leaving 3 men on the bag, no outs is not an option. We remember Mighty Kirby and Rockhard Jack Morris, and Herbert and Gladden and all the fun of World Series 87 and 91. In the cities which are twins, we won that big one twice before. Is that enough to walk back home tonight and not recall the score? Or will 19 be like the Vikings, memories of collapse and pain? We'll never know until the Twins make the series next year again.
Oh, that helps.
This is it's not really a poem, it's more like a riddle. So this is by Stu Sweedler. And here we go. The Twins had a fabulous year. Those 101 wins, did you hear? Fell short on the win stats, back to the 01 Nats, to a team that was once top tier. To which year does this poem refer? More info needed to infer. Clues will be provided for the undecided, so your efforts not to deter. This team, before reaching the top, storied Yankees, they could not stop. 20 games out of first, 6th place with the league's worst. 4 under 500, a flop. The following year, fans would say, out of the gate with top-notch play, fought the O's until June, then avoided a swoon in first place the rest of the way. In wins, they would reach 102, and the stats produced would ring true. Their depth was impressive, Sam's coaching excessive. That was a clue, by the way. Offense and defense to review. These Twins came out swinging the bat. Extra base hits, a noted stat. Batting average ranked first. Scoring runs with a thirst. And stealing some bases at that. Hall of Famer, this team had won. Known best for the killer home run. Dislocated elbow, shortened season, oh no. Mule and Pie, subbed in, got it done. Pure hitting Tony O was the best. Batting titles he did contest. A sore knuckle and knee would let the bat go free. Should be in the hall, I attest. The spark plug that year was El Zorro. He ran like there's no tomorrow. Made many errors still, a gold glove to his till. The MVP would then follow. Starting pitching, sitting pretty, led by a cat and a kitty. Patado, Pequeno, add Jim Esta Bueno, and then saved by Red, how nifty. Bob, Sandy, Joe, Jimmy the Wedge, provided them an outfield edge. Earl, Jerry manned the plate. Slim, Guido, second slate. Bones, Boz, Clip, Stig, the relief sledge. Should you still be left in the dark, this last clue should create the spark. Twins would be series bound. Koufax, Drysdale on the mound. Chavez, Ravine would be the park. They lost in 7 to LA. What did they learn along the way? To their utter dismay, to beat that Sandy K, create a Jewish holiday. For Sylvia Frank, who cannot be here this evening, she wrote 3 haiku that I'd like to share with you. Number 1, a cracking wood sound. White sphere lofting in blue sky. Glove rises, they meet. Strike 2. Slowly spinning ball, turbulent air, corkscrew flight, a knuckleball pitch. And for the third and final, sweet spot collision. Leather ball and wooden bat. Ball soars high. Fans rise.
I'm going to read 2 poems. The first one of them was suggested, maybe assigned by Professor Ramondi. It's called Glory by Yusuf Umayat. Most were married teenagers, working knockout shifts, daybreak to sunset, 6 days a week. Already old men playing ball in a field between a row of shotgun houses and the magazine lumber company. They were all Jackie Robinson and Willie Mays, a touch of Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige. In each stance and swing a promise, like a hesitation pitch, always at the edge of their lives. Arms sharp as rifles. The Sunday afternoon heat flared like thin flowered skirts as children and wives cheered. The men were like cats running backwards to snag pop-ups and high flies off fences, stealing each other's glory. The old deacons and raconteurs who umpired made an out or save into a song and dance routine. Runners hit the dirt and slid into home plate, cleats catching light as they conjured escapes, outfoxing double plays. In the few seconds it took a man to eye a woman upon the makeshift bleachers, a stolen base or home run would help another man survive the new week. The other poem I'm reading is written by a former student of mine at St. Thomas, Mick Cochran, who's now a novelist and a student of the game. And it's good advice for bunting, and it's good advice for not being a jerk in your life. The poem's called How to Sacrifice by Mick Cochran. Pivot in the box. Square up. Surrender to the pitcher. Slide your top hand up the barrel. Don't squeeze. Keep your hands soft. Bend your knees. You need to keep your balance. Let the ball come to you. Be patient. Don't stab at it. Point your bat. Absorb the shot and hope the ball stays fair. Afterwards, expect no high fives, no headlines, no contract extension. No one bunts himself onto an all-star team. You do it because that runner on first, he needs to come home. He's your teammate, he's your brother, he's your son. And you're the guy who still knows how to lay one down.
Ace. Yeah, I'll get him.
Greetings and salutations. I am also here at the behest of Mr. Berra. And I think back on the years of playing baseball as I was reading this poem. And I realized that it was time to stop playing when I was playing outfield and trying to track down fly balls wearing trifocals. Old men watching baseball, huddled together for comfort on warm park benches, they sit in the inappropriate noonday sun with sagging soles and bellies, wearily watching the baseball boys in bright and agile bronze, uneasy dodging them of a time when they, like these, could hit and fitly run for beckoning bases. Playing then was prime before the fast and curving years descended upon them one by one and struck them out. Oh, baseball boys, see here your final score. For we grew faces in our flowery years, smooth, soft as yours. Our limbs were likewise limber, our throats were statuesque, our muscles moved as mightily, our waists were just as slender, our voices carried, and we played as long as sunlight lasted, heedless of the fears of old men whispering on twilight benches.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nick DiConcini. I'm actually a St. Thomas alum and lifetime baseball lover. This poem was actually written by James Gambucci, Doctor of Dentistry and Professor at the University of Minnesota, who couldn't be here tonight. So here I am pinch hitting. Seems like it was a theme tonight, Yankees versus the Twins, and Dr. Gambucci continues on that theme with the story of his falling in love with baseball. Between Rod Carew and James Augustus Hunter, popularly known as Catfish Hunter, they had a total of, I believe, 24 All-Star games between the two of them. And a little fun fact that makes this story a little bit more fun is less than 100 of Rod Carew's over 3,000 hits were home runs. So this is a little bit special. Mr. Gambucci starts us off with a little bit of an author's note. I saw a book titled Don't Read Poetry, written by a poet. So I thought, who am I to defy so clear an order to stay within the border of my expertise, teeth. So this is not a poem, although it may contain a little alliteration or a rhyme from time to time. This is a vignette meant to evoke an episode that made a man an even greater fan. Will it make the cut for tonight's show? Only Professor Ramundi knows. So, here goes. The game was mundane. The outcome never in doubt. The Yanks were better. But for 4 at-bats, Catfish had to face Carew. Not mundane, epic. Bottom of the first, Carew steps in. Catfish glares. Wines and fires. Home run. Bottom of the fourth, Carew and Catfish round 2. Outcome? See round 1. Round 3 was a duel. Pitches catching or just off the corners. 4 balls. Foul balls. Then, on full count, Rodney smashes a single that sears Hunter's ear. Bottom of the 9th, Catfish raises the white flag. Grants a 4-pitch walk. Carew walked to first, turned and gave Catfish a nod. Catfish doffed his cap. Thank you.
I grew up outside of Washington, D.C. in an area that the local natives refer to as Northern Virginia. And I was a Washington Senators fan growing up, not the Senators that came to Minnesota, but the team that replaced them, which 10 years after they got to Washington, they went to Texas. So now we have the Nationals who were the Expos, and it's good that they're in this series. I'm really excited that DC is going to have, hopefully, a winner. I'm going to read 3 brief poems. First is called Driving by a Snow-Covered Baseball Park in December. 3 crows were standing on spindly legs between second and short, all 3 looking towards home plate as if waiting for a hot grounder to scramble their wings or a frozen road single to sizzle right over their heads, making them duck. When I slowed down for a closer look, they lifted lazily and fly deep to center, heading, I guess, towards the strewn concessions by the Western Mall parking lot. This Braille thing. The second one is called 3 Home Runs by Greg Maglia. Out my father's window, the sun enjoys itself at midday. Dad sits up in his nursing bed, gives his nurse a thank you for the pill, and greets me with a smile. And I say, happy birthday, Dad. Happy 96. Dad, in a child's voice, says, Daddy and Mommy, how are they? Did I hear you? I asked Dad. What did you say? Daddy and Mommy, how are they? Dad, your mother and father died about 50 years ago. I'm not sure on the date, though. Dad sits up. The funerals, the burials. I missed it all. Now he's sobbing. Both gone. And I missed it all, son. I need help, and it comes. Father's falling, but peace is still here. He's still here. Dad, listen. It's here in the paper. The babe. He had 3 homers. 3 homers today. Dad looks hard at me, and then softens, and through sniffles. 3 home runs. Yes, Dad. I take a tissue, wipe his eyes as he asks, and the Yankees, did they win? Number 3. This is called, wrong page. Okay, here we go. Baseball in Manzanar. When I was 12, I played sandlot ball in my little town in California. After the game, I would go to the docks and help my father with his catch on his fishing boat. A year later, we were in the desert in a government compound bordered by towers and electrified fences. My father had everything taken from him, but he said they could not take our pride. We still played baseball with a vengeance, teams and leagues and uniforms, just as we would have done back home. One day, I almost hit a homer over the barbed wire fence. A guard in a tower gave me a thumbs up. My father said, "They think we're trying too hard to be American. They don't know that I played baseball as a boy back home in Kyoto. It's a Japanese game, too." I said, "Papa, we are Americans." My father died too early. Never the same since he lost his business. I grew up, went to college, married, had 3 kids, and now 2 grandkids, the oldest of whom is a college professor. When I think back, sometimes I still get angry with my country, but it's still my country.
Nice, John.
One more sentence. I still watch baseball, and I have my favorite players, like Ichiro, who marches inevitably to the Hall of Fame.
Whoa, nice.
Hello? I'm number 42, Tommy Woodward. We're
going to indulge me because I'm going to read one shorty first and then the real deal, but you'll get a feel for where I'm coming from. I'm an assistant baseball coach for a college baseball team, and I harp on something that you'll understand here. When I read to you, there's no jogging in baseball. You walk to first and get a walk-off win. Between the innings, run out and run in. Sprint out of the box and to back up a base. Lope after a fly to a convergent place. A home run trot is an appropriate speed. For those who jog, there is no need. This one is called The Men in Bronze. And it's sort of a reflection of what that first song, or the first poem introduced to it. The men in bronze are the heroes gone by, our fondest memories forever etched like stars in the sky, never to fade or even to flicker a bit, because oh, how they could pitch and how they could hit. Only the best achieved the glamour and fame. Theirs was the way you play the game. They earned their statues for finesse and for hustle, for character and grace, as well as for muscle. Like Gwyn, the Wizard of Oz, and Ted Kluszewski, Harmon Killebrew, Kirby Puckett, Roberto Clemente. Played hard and tough, like Cardinal Bob Gibson, or Hammer and Hank, and one day you might get one. Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, and Cool Papa Bell, each of their statues has a story to tell. The statue of Mays calls out, say hey, and there's Berra and Larson, who was perfect one day. See a number of greats in the Yankee Monument, or the teammates, Williams, Pesky, DiMaggio, and Dorr. They are noted for their arm, or their bat, and their mitt. Examples are Warren Spahn and Michael Jack Schmidt. There are statues to Tigers, Indians, and Shy Sox. K-Line, Feller, Little Louie, and Fox. Then there's that of Ron Santo and Stan the Man. Nolan Ryan's tips his cap to the game and the fan. Disrespect for the game is all that it shows when today's young sluggers toss the bat, strike a pose, as the deep fly falls way short of the wall, or it's the long, loud foul, which means nothing at all. Frozen, they stand there bashing old school, while they're simply basking, statue of a fool.
First, I apologize to all of those who really are literature professors, because what I write are corny poems. Please sit back and listen up. I have a story to tell about a game long ago that was just swell. We were only one run ahead, the bottom of the ninth inning, but they had 2 on, no outs. Looks like we might not be winning. A hard grounder is short. It didn't get through in just a split second. I knew what I was going to do. Off to my right, I heard the third baseman shout, "Throw it to me, we'll get the lead runner out." But I looked square at first base, and I faked the throw. And that made the second base runner start to go. With the ball still tucked into my glove, I surprised her with the tag, then quickly running across second, my feet touching the bag. Spinning around, I threw that ball away. Batter out at first, I made a triple play. After nearly 50 years, I still recall the greatest day of all when I played softball.
We're going to send the video to New York for review. I do want to thank everyone for coming. Stick around a little bit. Angela, what are we going to do afterwards? You got to
open the bar or something?
The bar's been open.
The bar's been open. Can someone go to the bar right now and get a beer?
Yeah.
You can go get a beer. But before I have to, Joe, shame on you for saying that I roped people in very much. But I do have to say this. This is a bizarre thing, and I can't even believe this happened. So I sent a lot of text messages and emails reminding people, please come. Here we are. And Colleen says, well, we'll come as long as we're not roped into something. I mean, what kind of friend is that?
One that knows you.
Okay, so go get a beer. There's still peanuts and popcorn around. The judges, the umpires will go to the special deliberation room, right? That's right. All right, good luck.
Another round of applause for Michael to organize this. Thanks, And round of applause for Naughty Greek to host this day.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, so let's get right to it. We have some great gift certificates here, gift cards for another sandwich. So come back and visit Naughty Greek. And so I think the first category. So there are 4 categories. Reminder. One being the reading of Casey at the back.
So do you do second place first and then
Sure.
the suspense?
Sure. So that's the first category, and we really loved his. Hope I'm not giving it away. We really loved his dramatic rendition. Spoke with a lot of conviction. We liked the pace that you delivered it in. Anything to add, Nick?
The poem obviously can be read and interpreted as a fun baseball poem, which is what it is. But I think that Pat captured the gravity of the situation in the poem.
And Mary, his mother said it that it sounded kind of like a bedtime story that a father would read to a kid, which I thought was nice. So Patrick Sutherland. And then first place, of course, for their thoughtful interpretation and audience participation, of course. And it looks like a lot of hard work went into it. Anything to add?
Yeah, I felt that the poem started off a little slow, but could not have finished stronger.
Yeah. So Mary and Valley. There's your first place. Yeah, of course. You gotta split that. So category 2, performance of songs. Yeah, so Mike, come on up. And then Ry Cooter is one of my favorite guitarists. So I had to go with that right away. And it was a really nice story and intro to lead in, and that made it that much more meaningful. Nate, anything to add?
Yeah, I felt that Mike, I gave Mike my vote because...
Oh no, this is not Mike, this is Jim.
Okay, sorry, Jim. I gave Jim my vote because I felt that the warm introduction to the song was a really beautiful original poem.
And this, I thought that was part of the performance, so it was really nice. And this isn't just me and Nate, this is all of our discussion. Yeah. So give it up for Jim. So category 3, poems read not by the author. What do you think? So not original poems. Unoriginal. This gentleman, we all liked
he read, but I was really struck by one about the winter. Anybody else? Anything else to add? Son and his aging father. We really liked that one too. Anything to add, Nate?
Yeah, I felt that this particular poet gave us all an interesting look at the game of baseball. One from the perspective of wintertime when we can't play baseball, and then from the perspective of a son caring for his father who's on his way to the end, and how baseball comes in handy in those moments. And so, and I felt that the whole restaurant was at rapt attention for his reading, and so there was a lot of charisma there.
Yeah, and then the final one, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was someone who's not from America but experiencing.
Oh yes, the internment camps.
Yeah. But saying that it's an international game. So Justin, give us a message. Third place gift card there for you, Justin. Congratulations.
So second place, the panel of judges chose Anne, who read the poem about Sano's squib. I want to say thanks to Anne just personally because I'll admit that I haven't really grieved yet over the way the season ended. And so your poem helped me to begin that process. You're here.
We had to do some sort of ranked choice voting back there in the secret deliberation room. So this was, none of us really understood what that is, ranked choice voting, but we came to the conclusion for this first place. I really liked this one. I play baseball, and and I'm not a very good hitter, and so it was hit particularly close to me.
Jimmy hit 350 this past summer.
Thanks. We really liked this one because of that, and I liked his introduction.
And the bunt, the poem about bunting and sacrificing was really beautiful. And as baseball players, it was really satisfying to be put in the game. The description of the process of bunting was accurate to a T, and so that was really fun to experience that poem.
Yeah. So first place goes to Lon. You'll never know if we don't give it to him. Still gets it. So fourth and final category were original poems, which are fun. And right here.
Third place goes to Nelson.
He was the first person to ever read a haiku this evening, I think. And I liked how baseball could be boiled down to just 3 lines. And because baseball is a simple game. And
also we got the perspective from Nelson's Pony League and the importance and the excitement from his perspective, so we appreciate doing that. Congratulations.
Give it up. Just a quick anecdote. We had my cousin had a foreign exchange student from Germany, and her father came at the end of her time at Como High School, and he was really excited to go to watch a baseball game, which was so American. And he didn't speak that great of English, so my dad printed off the rules of the game, of course, in German, which, you know, is notorious for its long words, and still it was over 200 pages of just. So we sat in the nosebleeds at the Metrodome with this packet of papers and tried to explain it to him. So it's not that simple. Anyway, so second place for the originals. We admired the athleticism that she was describing to so skillfully turn the awareness and skill that was required to pull off such a play that the Twins did twice this year, if I'm not mistaken. So we wanted to give a second place prize for original poem to Chris.
Finally, the last award of the night.
All right, so I can't speak for everybody, but I know our panel of judges appreciated being taken through the halls of Cooperstown. It was a lot of fun to hear all the names of the greats, the Hall of Famers. I think baseball is a game more so than any other where we still live with the ghosts from the past. We still think about Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron all the time. I don't know that kids do that with football and basketball and hockey as much, but anyway,
and I really liked there's no jogging in baseball. That was for as slow of a pace as baseball is. You really got to be running all over. So first place for original poem goes to Tommy.
Congratulations, folks.
We haven't. Maybe, yeah, all right. It's for a
Limerick. There once were three boys from St. Paul. Oh my, how they could play ball. Now we'll always rave about Jack, Molly, and Dave, for each is enshrined in the hall.
That's it. Thanks, everybody. Mike.
So we'll thank the judges. Okay, it's a thank you guys. You can do stand up anytime. Thank Angelo again. Where are you guys? There he is. Thank Angelo. Angelo has a special message for everyone. Clean up your peanuts. Come back again. We'll do this again in the spring. All right, here's to it. Don't forget, the object of baseball is to go home.